where. All right. So Ubongi, we can stop sharing your screen so that
This meeting being recorded.
fantastic. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are joining us from. If you can hear me loud and clear, the video is crisp, everything is good. Just type in a 1 into the chat. Just type in 1 into the chat so I know that I am audible. All right. Thank you very much, Aimwa. Fantastic. The tech ecosystem, which is the business analysis career path. And I'm sure a lot of you would have questions around why business analysis is very important. Okay, and I'll walk you through how to get started, the specifics you need to know, why a portfolio is very, very important for you if you want to transition, and how to learn those skills. And that will be the crux of our session this afternoon. Okay, now, before we dive into the session today, I'd love to know those that are joining us for the first time. So if this is your first time joining us for any of our sessions, any masterclass, just type in a 1 into the chat so I know the newbies we have on board, and I can also tailor the session appropriately. If you are joining us for the very first time, just type in a 1 into the chat. Thank you very much, John, Peter, Henry, Peter, Akintoye, fantastic, Ekemini. Thank you very much for joining us today, and super excited to be a part of our session. All right. So Aimwa, please just let me know if at any moment you have any glitch across morning. All right, so let's dive into our session for today. Starts by doing a little bit of introduction, and then we'll dive into the main meat of why we are here, which is you are moving to the UK, you are moving to Canada, you are moving to the US. Why is business analysis a career path that you must consider? And how do you get started in that specific career path? And that's what I'll be highlighting today. And I would love to take your questions, have an amazing, I would say, engaging session. I want you to ask all the questions you have at any point in time. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, who are we at Tenalytics? What do we do? What are we all about? And so on. Okay, so for us at Tenalytics, we are an educational technology company breaking the barriers for people who want to get into tech. And one of the ways that we are doing this, especially for the African community, Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora, is by equipping you with premium skills, delivering absolutely cutting-edge training to help you learn the skills to break into different areas, including data analytics, data science, business analysis, data engineering, and so on and so forth. Over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people make that change from getting into the classroom to getting their very first jobs in the tech ecosystem. All right. And I'll be sharing a bit of my experience with you today. And also, I'd love to get questions as much as we can. So we have a very engaging session together. But who am I? And I'll be leading your session today. But just to give a little bit of introduction about myself, my name is Adaiza Suleiman. I'm the founder of Tenalytics. I've worked as a data analytics expert across my career. I've worked as a data science consultant in the UK and in the US, and I'm currently based in Canada. I've worked in the business performance department of one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa, and I have close to a decade years of experience across different areas. And just like most of you, I did not start my career in tech. My first degree was in industrial chemistry, and then my first professional job was as a management consultant. But then I switched into data analytics along the line. And just like so many of you who'll be doing the same thing because you don't have experience in these areas. So how is it possible for somebody who studied industrial chemistry and also started as a management consultant? How did he switch to become a data analyst, a data scientist, and so on and so forth? All right, and I'll be sharing some of those insights with you today and what you must do to also achieve even better than what we have done over the last 4 years. Now, what are we doing today and what's the essence of our session? Would first of all get into why are business analysts high in demand? I'm sure a lot of you would have been hearing business analyst. If you want to get started in a specific area, consider business analysis. If you want to get into tech, consider business analysis. But why are business analysts high in demand? Who is even a business analyst? All right. And of course, we'll look at the demand for business analysts across the major economies and the reason why, if you are in any of these countries or you plan to move to any of these countries, you must consider the business analysis career path. We'll move from there into what you must do to become a business analyst. And this is where a lot of people struggle and they fall short. Okay, so they've learned all the skills in the world, they've gotten all the certifications, but then they don't even know what to do on the job. When you start the job as a business analyst on day one, what are you expected to do? So you have a lot of people with papers. We call it the paper ceiling. A lot of people who have certifications here and there. However, they don't know how to do the job. So how do you get started? What's the best path for you to take to become a business analyst? And of course, I would also introduce you to our upcoming cohorts on the 6th of April, and also introduce you about our IWD scholarship, which is the scholarship for bringing in more women into the tech ecosystem. The month of March is the International Women History Month, okay? March is for the women. So we launched the IWD scholarship last year, 2023, to help more women get into tech. And last year we gave scholarship to over 300 women. And this year we are doing the same. And I'll talk about that when we move into this particular area. All right. So let's get started. Who is a business analyst? All right. I would love for one person to speak. If you'd love to speak, please feel free. Like I said, I want our session today to be as engaging as possible. And how long are we going to take? We'll take about 1.5 hours, 1 hour to go through my presentation, and then 30 minutes for Q&A. All right, 30 minutes for Q&A, 1 hour for the presentation. Who is a business analyst? If you know who a business analyst is, in very simple terms, just type it into the chat. If you want to speak, you want to unmute yourself and speak, please feel free. I would allow you to unmute yourself and let's get to hear from you. You've been hearing business analysis all this while, okay? Who is a business analyst? Let's get to hear from you. Who would like to? If you want to speak, just use the raised hand icon. I'll call you up. I can see somebody, ITEL, but I'm not sure ITEL is connected with the mic, so I'm not sure you'll be able to speak. So anybody who wants to speak and tell us what you know about who a business analyst is, in your own words, no specific, nothing is, I don't want you to go on Google and do a search and then come tell us. In your own words, who is a business analyst? Okay, so Steve is saying that a business analyst is someone who analyzes businesses. Absolutely. That's putting it very simply. Okay. Ekemini is saying someone who identifies a problem and gives it a solution. Fantastic. Brilliant. I love that, Ekemini. And of course, Steve also just, used what the Yorubas would call Ogboju for us. A business analyst is someone who analyzes businesses. All right. Thank you very much, Ekemini. You are very, very correct. And even Steve as well, you are also correct. Now, just like Steve said, the business analyst analyzes the business. But what aspect of the business? We also have to be specific. The business analyst does not analyze the entire and the different areas of the business, but focuses on specific areas, all right? And then before I give you the specific definition, I'm just going to do a little bit of explanation. Like I said, we're going to keep our session as interactive as possible so that we have an amazing time together. Now, every business comprises of three major areas: the people, yeah, sorry about that, guys. So like I said earlier, I've been having a little bit of issue, but I'm just going to make a very quick change and then that will be resolved. Okay, so just give me 1 second and then I'll do a very quick switch. All right, so if you can hear me and you can still see me clearly, type in a warning to the chat before we continue. Okay, Aimwa says yes. All right, thanks for that, Aimwa. Let me get to hear from any other person so that, okay, Ekemini, fantastic. Thank you very much. So let's go on. I think we are good to go. So just like I was explaining, there are three major components of any organization, any business. You have the people, you have the processes, and then you have the technology. Okay? Now, the business analyst would focus largely on the processes. Okay? And I'll speak about this. We'll use a very simple case scenario to build our point eventually. All right, but the business analyst focuses solely on the processes. How can I make the processes more efficient so that we do things faster and more effective, and we are more effective in what we do? Okay, now we'll come back to this, but looking at it broadly, a business analyst is any professional, just like what Steve told us, who analyzes the organization's business processes, the systems, and the stakeholders. And like Ekemini said, and provide solutions. You can't talk about a business analyst without talking about solutions. The business analyst provides solutions, okay? And like I mentioned, we'll use a very, very simple case scenario to build on this. Now, a business analyst can work in different organizations. I worked as a business analyst in the energy sector, working specifically within the power sector in energy. All right, you'd see business analysts in fintechs, business analysts in the healthcare industry, business analysts in the financial sector, and so on and so forth. So how does a business analyst perform in any organization? What do they do really? And let's use a very simple example. Okay, so let's imagine that we operate a business where we sell building items to customers. All right, we sell building items. I'm just going to write this here. We sell building items or building materials to customers. For a customer to buy an item from us and they don't want to come into the store, they place a phone call and they call somebody at the front desk. So the customer would call somebody at the front desk. Okay. Now the person at the front desk will take all the details from the customer and then pass the order of that customer to procurement. All right. Procurement would in turn pass it across to the store manager or to the person in charge of store, because they need to check and find out if the item is available before they can deliver to the customer. And once store has checked, they go to delivery. Okay, so let's imagine that this is the process we operate in our company. A customer would call, somebody would take the details of the customer, pass it over to procurement. Procurement would pass it to the store team. The store team would also check if it's available, pass it to delivery, and the delivery team would then take it and deliver to the customer. All right. Now, as a business analyst, you come into this business and you find out that to move from this process, the beginning of the process to the end of the process, maybe it takes about 3 hours. All right. And also remember that because it is very manual, somebody is picking up a call and taking down orders, there are likely going to be mistakes. Okay. So that you have level of mistakes. Now, one of the first things the business analyst would do working in this company would map out the process to identify the current state, which is the as-is process. As is. What do we have as of today? The current state. When a customer orders and we deliver to the customer, what does that process look like? So the business analyst would map out the process to understand the current state. Now, once the business analyst understands what this, the current state looks like, the process ends to end, the business analyst can then start to find gaps and inefficiencies. For example, this person that picks up the call would take down the details and could miss out one or two things when passing it across to procurement. Okay, now procurement doesn't also have a way to identify if the item is available or not. So it will take time between procurement to the store team to find out if the item is available. So this takes time, 3 hours. There are likely going to be mistakes and you will have gaps because sometimes the wrong order is delivered to the customer and so on and so forth. Your role as a business analyst is to find a way to make this process more efficient, to make this process more seamless. And instead of taking 3 hours, can we reduce this to only take 3 minutes? That's your role as a business analyst. So you're analyzing the business, you're analyzing the process. All right. Now, if you look at the definition, we said you analyze the process, you analyze the systems, and also the stakeholders. Now, you've looked at the process end to end. This is what it takes before we can deliver an item to the customer. The business analyst would then need to sit down with each stakeholder involved in this process, from the customer team who picks up the call to the delivery team. You sit down with everybody and try to understand exactly what they do. They sit down and try to understand exactly what they do. Now, once you've understood this, let me ask you, what do you think we can do in this business to reduce the time from 3 hours to 3 minutes? Let's come up with a solution together. What do you think we can do? Looking at the current scenario, the customers would have to the customer team would pass it to the procurement passes to store passes to delivery. What can we do to shorten this process, make it more seamless, and we don't take as much time? I would love to hear from you. If there's anybody who would want to speak, you can request for the mic. I would ask you to unmute yourself. If there is anybody, if you have your ideas, you want to send that into the chat, please feel free, type it out into the chat, and I would love to see that. Okay, how do you think we can reduce this? This is the current state of the business. As a business analyst, your objective is to optimize the process and make it more efficient. Okay, automate, John, fantastic. I love that word. Steve is saying implement an ERP solution. Absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant, which is also automation. Implementing an ERP also means the stock should be automated. Automate the process. Fantastic, brilliant. And again, this is the responsibility of the business analyst. So as a business analyst, you then need to, you've sat down, understand the process, you've looked for the inefficiencies, you've seen where the gaps are, and you decide that, look, rather than operating in this system, we need to what? Automate the process. Automate. And for us to automate, we need to implement a system, maybe not as robust as an ERP because we don't have the money to acquire an ERP system, but we can build a very simple application where customers go online, they order their items, and immediately, once a customer orders the item, it goes straight to delivery because there is an inventory system in that application that will tell if that item is available or not. So as long as the customer can see the item, it means the item is available. So we cut out the procurement and the store because once the item is on the platform and the customer goes on the platform and sees the item is available, the customer can order that item. So we want to automate. And before we carry out the automation process in acquiring or building the app that we want to build, would have to gather something we call requirements. Okay, so this application we want to build to help our customers order an item or order items from our business. We want to ensure that it has certain type of features. Okay, and for me to know the type of features the app should have, I must sit down and discuss with the customer team, get feedback from the customers. So I'm going to send out a survey asking questions from our customers to understand exactly what they also want the business to look like in terms of the application we want to build. I'll sit down with the procurement team, I'll sit down with store, sit down with delivery, sit down with the IT team to know if we have the infrastructure, we have the internal capacity to build the application. And all of this, the sitting down, discussing, holding meetings to understand exactly what we are gathering requirements. It's called requirements gathering, okay? And you have to do this as a business analyst. And once you've gathered your requirements, you now have a business requirement document. And this document contains everything that this application would need, all the features that this application would need in order for us to have an application that meets the demand and meets the requirements of this company. Okay, so now the business analyst would not build the application himself or herself. The business analyst would then serve as an interface, as a bridge between the business and the technology team that will build this application. All right, now that you have all the requirements, gathering the requirements, you now know what the business needs, all the features that should be on that application, and you will communicate these requirements to the technology team that will be building the application. All right, and you must ensure that every single requirement is what's built and implemented on the final application. All right, and that's really the responsibility of the business analyst, the major objective of the business analyst. Now, the business analyst would also ensure that in building that application, it is a project that has to take place, and the business analyst would manage that project from start to finish. All right, at the end of the day, after all these entire processes, You've looked at the first process, the way the process is at the beginning. You have looked for the inefficiencies, where the gaps are, and you decided that we need to build an application. You sat down with the team, gathered requirements of what this application should look like. You sent a survey to the customers to get your user stories, to also add that to the application so that you build an application that is fit for the market. And you ensure that you serve as a bridge, as the middleman between the business and the technology team that will be building the application, so that they build the application based on the requirements you have gathered. And at the end of the day, once the application is complete, it takes only 3 minutes for a customer to order an item, and the item is completed and the item gets over to the customer. That's the major responsibility of the business analyst. So when you say that the business analyst analyzes the business processes, you look at every process in the business, look for the gaps, the loopholes, the inefficiencies, and then you find ways to recommend solutions to those problems, those processes, to make them shorter and more seamless. Just like Ekemini said, you provide solutions. Okay, you'd also have to analyze the stakeholders. You'd sit with the different stakeholders, both internal and external, with the customers. You also know what the customers want, and those are your user stories. You get that from customers. You know what they want to be implemented on that application. You sit down with all the other team members, all the other critical stakeholders, the IT team, the procurement team, the store team. You also know what they want, and you're documenting those requirements. All right. And this is what the business analyst does in any organization. So you have come into that business and you've made that process that took 3 hours, that has taken 3 hours over the last 5 years. But this new process now takes just 3 minutes because you have been able to implement an application to ensure that the process is automated and it is a lot faster than you have always, it has always been. Why the business analyst is highly sought after, providing solutions and making businesses more efficient. Also, some of the reasons why the business analyst is also very, very important and very high in demand, the business analyst role, is the fact that projects fail. In organizations, over 39% of projects fail simply because they have not planned effectively. They don't know all the things that should be involved. The scope of the project has not been properly defined, so the projects fail. And the business analyst comes into that business and ensures that before we start a project on building any application, acquiring any application, we know exactly the full extent of what is involved, by sitting down with all the stakeholders, like we talked about earlier, the customers, the IT team, all the other key stakeholders, understand what we need to implement before we even get started. Another major reason is the digital revolution. Organizations are moving from manual to digital. And even organizations that are already digital, they are looking for more ways to make their processes faster and more seamless. All right, you'd have companies today moving from, the manual in-store. You have companies that have both in-store and online services, just to ensure that whatever they do, they are also able to do that effectively, and they're very efficient in getting that done. Even in the hospitals, you go to a hospital today, gone are the days where you'd have to manually enter patient's records into maybe a document or enter it into a computer. Today, you go into a hospital, all they need is a form of ID from you, and they can pull up all your history. And as you move from one department to the other department, you move to X-ray, for example, you get your X-ray done. It is communicated straight to the next department, and you don't have to carry files around, carry paper around, and so on and so forth. So this has given rise to the demand for business analysts as well across the major economies. And the business analysts are the bridges between the business and the technology team. So whatever the business wants to automate, whatever application the business wants to build, whatever application or software the business wants to acquire, the business analyst gathers the requirements, understands what the business needs, creates a business requirement document, makes a case for that particular implementation, and then manages the project until that software is either acquired or built. All right. And that's the role of the business analyst. Okay. Before we move on to the next phase, which is simply how are countries today, not just organization this time around, the demand for business analysts, why is it so high? In Canada, for example, as a business analyst, that's one of the fastest paths for you to get a job. Same in the UK, the business and analysis career is one of the career paths on the shortage occupation list. Same in the US, it's a career path that will be growing by over 11% year on year from now to the year 2030 or 2031. So why is the business analyst role so high in demand? We've talked about that, the reasons, but let's look a little bit into the countries where you have those roles and how they are very high in demand in these respective countries. I will start with the UK. Now, the UK has something they call the shortage occupation list, okay? And this would be changed in the month of April to the immigration salary list. So the UK have been making so many changes with regards to immigration, and part of it is changing the salary, the minimum salary requirements for you to be considered for a tier 2 skilled worker visa. All right. So you're a master's student, you're a dependent in the UK, you want to get a job and transition from a tier 4 student visa or dependent visa to a tier 2 skilled worker visa. How can you easily do that? You must look at career paths that are also on the shortage occupation list. Okay, and the shortage occupation list simply contains occupations that are high in demand to the extent that you have a shortage of human capital. You have a shortage of people to get into those roles. So the UK would not mind getting people outside the country to move into the UK or people within the UK to also get these jobs. Okay, so what I've done for you is to also keep the link in the slides, which will be shared with you at the end of the session. So you have access to the list. But all you can also do is just to type and search the shortage occupation list in the UK and it pops up. But let's go in here and let's have a look very quickly, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the one for Canada as well. So if I click on this link, it takes me into the shortage occupation list. And I'll explain why this is very important. All right. Now, when you're applying for a skilled worker visa in the UK, it is a points-based system. You need to get a certain number of points. To be specific, you need to get 70 points. Whoops, sorry. I was trying to write something. You need to get 70 points to be specific. Now, out of these 70 points, and you have to meet certain criteria, and one of the criteria is the job you have applied to, if the occupation code is one of the shortage occupations, meaning that it is on the shortage occupation list, you get an immediate 20 points. The fact that the job you have gotten, the offer you have gotten from a company, the role is on the shortage occupation, you get immediately 20 points out of the 70. So you have 50 points left, and the 50 points can be easily gotten. If you're a student, for example, moving from a student to a skilled worker visa, automatically you get another 20 points. If you have your salaries between, I think they've increased it now to about £38,000 per annum. If you have a minimum salary of about £38,000, you get an additional 20 points. So that's 60. And the other, points you have the English language requirements and so on. Immediately you're able to get your 70 points. All right. But that's a different session. I've held sessions on this, explaining how to get the 70 points and how easy it can be for you to do that. So, but let's get into the shortage occupation lists. Now, for anybody who goes here, the specific code you want to take note of is 2135. For anybody in the UK, 2135. I'm just going to maximize this a little bit, and you'd see the IT business analyst. The IT business analyst. So countries have also seen the fact that this is the career path that is high in demand, and you don't have enough people to fit into these roles. So anybody who has any offer, if you're a business analyst, you have the skills, you've applied to jobs, and you have an offer for a business analyst role, immediately you get additional 20 points. And that's one of the ways to accelerate your journey into a skilled worker visa. So you'd see that the role is currently short. You have shortages in England, in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, which comprises the 4 major regions in the UK. So you want to take note of this code, 2135, and that's the code for the business analyst career path. And what does it take for you to get this particular job? It's just for you to learn the skills. Okay, and we're going to break that down into as we move further into the session. So this is for the UK. All right, if you're in Nigeria, you're outside the country, you're in Canada, you're in the US, you want to move to the UK as a business analyst, and you have an offer for a business analyst role. The other aspect is very, very straightforward for you to get your points and transition into the tier 2 skilled worker visa. All right, and this is for the UK. Same with Canada. All right, for those of you who want to migrate using the PR route, the permanent residency route, where you'd fall into the category of the federal skilled worker, pathway, having an offer or having the role, even if you don't have an offer, you're having the role of what? The business analyst also gives you an edge simply because of this code 21221. All right, it says business system specialist, and this is where you also need a little bit of guidance, because some people would see the business system specialist and they're a bit confused. Is this the same with business analysis? And the answer is yes. All right, but how do you check? All you need is make a note of the code, the NOC code 21221. All right, and I've also kept a link for you here where you can check the different codes and you see all the different roles that are subsumed into that particular code. So if you go click on that link that I have on the slide, it takes you where you can check all the NOC codes. All right, and all you have to do is come here, search by NOC, and I'm simply going to type in the code 21221. All right, and it gives me the business system specialist. And if I click on search, I want to see all the roles that can fit into this code. So if I have an offer, if I have experience as a business analyst, and this gives me advantage when I want to get any job in Canada. And this is one of the reasons why the business analyst role is very, very high in Canada. You are a business analyst today, you are snapped off the market as fast as possible. So you see the business systems analyst, the business systems consultant, and the information systems business analyst, and the IT business analyst. All right, so you have different business analysts. The technical, you have the IT. The IT business analyst is where you want to be if you want to transition into tech. So all the explanation I mentioned earlier about moving from a particular manual process where you have to automate, build an application, build the software, and getting all the requirements, that's involved in the IT business analysis landscape. All right, so you'd see all the different titles that fit into that particular code 21221. All right, very, very important. And this shows the reason why people in these countries get jobs as fast as possible. Now, I would also mention with a caveat, there are a lot of people who would never get jobs as business analysts. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's very, very simple. Okay, you have a lot of people today, and I've seen a lot of them, they join our program, and at the end of the day, they see the difference between having a paper and having the skills. These are two different things, having the skills plus experience. There's a major difference between reading a book, sitting down for a certification, and passing the certification. Everybody can do that. But recruiters and those potential employers know this as well. And they don't look out for people with certifications. And that's why you see so many of them. Oh, you're coming to Canada, you need to write the certification. You're moving to the UK, you need to write the certification. But you come into the country and you have a rude awakening when you apply to jobs. You don't even get called for interviews. Or if you eventually get lucky and you get an interview, you go in there and the interviewer can see through all the crap that you have no experience and you don't even have the skills when they ask you competency-based questions. So we always tell people, all right, competence over credentials. Forget about what you have as your degree. Forget about any certification. It is all about competence. And that's skills plus experience. And I'll show you how to build the two, how to get the skills and how to also get the experience. And now we have helped people to do this. And today they're in career path where they're thriving and doing amazingly well. Okay, so I'm going to show you and showcase some of the people that I'm sure can inspire you. And one of them is Abigail. I've talked about Abigail's story so much, but I always love talking about her story. Abigail was a care worker in Canada. And just like many of you who moved to Canada, people do these survival jobs. I need to do this job so that I can make, some money to take care of my, expenses, at least do a little bit of stuff before I eventually get into a career where I have career progression. Some people get stuck on these survival jobs, but Abigail joined our business analysis program. And today she works with the government of Alberta as a business analyst. Now, Abigail got this job just 2 months after completing her training with us. She joined us, she got the job started in January 2024, and I'm sure you'd love to listen to what Abigail has to say. All right, I'm going to play Abigail's video for you. I'll come back and I'll play the video. I have links to what Abigail has said, what's really helped her to get this job, and the role Tenalytics played. Because for us, like I mentioned earlier, it's all about what? Competence. Competence. The skills plus the experience. This is what you have to build in order to get a job. And this is Abigail's story. Today, Abigail also leads and manages 2 direct reports, and she has never done business analysis before. She's never worked as a business analyst. All right. She's in Canada. She got into Canada doing a care job, moved from that into a business analyst role by joining our business analysis program. I'm going to listen and hear from Abigail. Now, Ramat is another fantastic professional. Ramat joined us sometime in April last year. And today, Ramat moved from a customer service role in the UK with British Gas, and she currently works with the NHS Trust in the UK as a business analyst. All right. And Ramat had so many fantastic things to say. Again, how was Ramat able to do this? Moving from a customer care role, customer service representative, working in the UK after completing her master's, and she was able to get a job as a business analyst. Ramat also joined us in April. She completed her program in August, and she got the job in October. Less than 2 months after completing the training, she got a job with the NHS. All right. I've also left a link to listen to Ramat and what Ramat has to say. I'm not going to bore you with too many videos, but I'll ask you, you tell me who you want to listen to, and then I'll play the video for you, and you get to hear from the amazing, amazing professionals. You also have Nathaniel. Nathaniel got into business analysis after joining us. He joined us in July, completed his program in October, and was able to land his job in December 2023. Again, just about 2 months after completing his program, he got a job as a business analyst. Now, one thing I want to mention about Nathaniel, which he also mentioned when you listen to his video, Nathaniel was very specific about the fact that he struggled to get interviews. Even though he's gone for other training programs, he couldn't get an interview. But the moment he joined our program, he was able to land several interviews. And we prepared him, worked with him during this interviewing stage, and was able to land the job as a business analyst. I want to speak about one more person before I play the video of either Ramat or Abigail, so you get to listen to them. And that's the story of Olamide. Now, why do I want to, highlight Olamide's story a little bit? And this would take me into what you must learn as a business analyst for you to transition. Olamide had worked as a business analyst for over 5 years in the UK. He had about 5 years experience, all right? Now, he was out of job in February 2023, and he tried to get a job, struggled to get a job, applying to different jobs. He couldn't get a job. So even though he had 5 years experience and he was out of job in February, he struggled to get any interviews and to get another job as a business analyst. So he came to us sometime around July. He came to us in July 2023. And I had a conversation with him. And one of the first things he told me is, look, Adaiza, I've been trying to get a job and I can't. All right. For the last 6 months, I've been trying, but I really can't just get a job. What do you think I need to do? Very simple. I asked for his CV. Let me have a look at your CV. And I noticed that Olamide had 5 years experience, number one. Number two, he had nothing related to data. All right. Nothing related to data. There was no data analytics. I want to write this a little bit clearly. So you see the roadmap. Okay, I asked for his CV, all right? And I found out that there was nothing related to data. There was no data analytics. And this was the change we need to make to his CV. So I advised him, Olamide, look, all I would advise you to do is join the business analysis program, where your very first module of what you learn is Excel, Power BI, let me just call this PBI, and then SQL, structured query language. That's your very first module. Add this to your CV, and this would make the difference for you. Of course, in addition to little other changes we made here and there, he had about 4 pages of his CV because he had highlighted so many responsibilities. So for somebody who has 5 years experience, you shouldn't have more than a page or maximum 2 pages on your CV. We made these changes, and guess what? In November 20, he completed his program sometime around October, and by November, Olamide landed a job as a business data analyst. So you see where the Excel, Power BI, and SQL became very important. He didn't get a job as a business analyst this time around. He got a job as a business data analyst with a company in the UK called U Energy. And today he currently works with them as a business data analyst. And he got this job just 1 month after wrapping up his program with us. And this was the message he sent to me. Hi, Adeza, how are you doing? I got a business data analyst role on Friday. Thank you for your support these past few months. I really appreciate. And of course, he sent me another message at the end of the year. Compliments of the season, Adeza. Wishing you a fruitful and fulfilling 2024. Thank you for being a helping hand for me this year. For anybody in the UK, I'm sure you'd imagine what it means not to have a job for 6 months. Olamide was able to land this job a month after completing the program. And what we needed to change was what? Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Add that to your skills, add it to your CV, create a portfolio, and this would do the magic. All right, and I'll show you what a portfolio should look like and the type of portfolio you would also be creating when you join the program. So these are some of the amazing professionals. All right, and there are so many more down my slides, but again, I'm not going to bore you with too much. I want you to listen to Abigail, okay? And when you receive the slides later, ensure that you listen to all the other amazing professionals, and I'm sure you'll learn 1 or 2 things from them. But let's listen to Abigail very quickly. It's about 3 minutes, and then would start to move into the skills, specific skills you need to learn to become a business analyst. All right, so let's hear what Abigail has to say. Okay, so let me share the audio so you can hear Abigail clearly. All right. So sit back, relax, and listen. If for any reason you can't hear, just type into the chat, can't hear, and then I'll make adjustment. But I'm sure the audio is working perfectly. Okay, so let's listen.
Hi guys, my name is Abigail Garga and I want to talk about my journey with Ten Analytics and how it has helped me to ace my interview and eventually land that dream job that we always wanted. So my training with Ten Analytics has transformed my career as a business analyst. They have coached me really well, thoroughly, with hands-on projects, and the instructors are usually super awesome. Topics that are covered are usually real life experience with a hands-on project where you do as a team, where you do as individual. There's always a one-on-one session if you want. Interview preparation, they use real life experience, they coach you on interview, and they tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong and where you need to improve and where you are perfect, and all of that. I'm recommending Tenalytics to all my friends, to all anyone watching this video. Please don't think about it twice when you just try and attend one of these sessions. It will open your mind, it will give you more ideas on what it is all about. Don't be scared. It was working with Analytics that gave me the confidence to apply for some job roles that I naturally wouldn't apply, because I feel those job roles are usually too big for me. Like, the name sounds so big, and Analytics makes me understand that you can do it as a business analyst. We all got the idea. So I am 100% recommending Tenalytics to anyone that has thought about being a business analyst, a data analyst, or all the analysts that they coach you on. You won't have regret in it. You will come to thank me later. I am happy I joined Tenalytics. They help you develop your user stories on how to use scenario, on how to use real life experience to answer your interview questions, which is usually what helps you to ace your interview. I am so happy I joined Analytics, and I wouldn't have been where I am today without the coaching and help of Analytics. I personally would want to thank the coordinator. He's very good at doing his job. His name is Ubong. Please disturb Ubong on everything you need. Like, he's always there 100%. Any time of the day you call him, he picks. It doesn't matter he's sleeping 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I am really recommending Tenalytics. So guys, join Tenalytics and you won't regret it. And Tenalytics, I personally want to thank you for training me, for building my confidence, and for helping me to understand that there's a BA in every one of us. Thank you guys. Bye.
All right, so that's Abigail. Abigail, fantastic lady, fantastic professional. Abigail works with the government of Alberta, in the Ministry of Municipal Affairs as a business analyst. And I'll be sharing that LinkedIn profile with you, because that would also inform some of the things that you must do. If you don't do them today, you'd find it very difficult to also transition and get a job. All right. Listen to Ramat, hear what Ramat has to say, how we were able to help her get a job as a business analyst with the NHS Trust. Her specific title, job title, actually says business architect, all right, which is a variation of business analysis. And I'll show you that, which is also part of our learnings for today. All right, Olamide, what's changed? What made him transition and get a job after so many months of trying, adding data analytics? And he didn't just get a job, he got a job as a business data analyst. And that's another amazing professional there. Desola also works with the NHS as a business analyst. She got her job sometime last year. And this was Desola sending me a message when she got the job. She had a presentation the day after, and she sent her presentation to me. Hi, Deza, I just shared my presentation with you. Whoops. Okay, sorry, let me go back there. She sent a message to me saying, hi, Adeza, I just sent my presentation with you. I looked at it and I said, Desola, the presentation looks fine. Okay. Ensure you stick to time. And I responded, all right, all the best. And this was Desola sending me a message to say, hi, Adeza, I'm pleased to inform you that I got a job with the NHS. Thank you so much for your efforts, and I'm very grateful. Now, do you know the reason why the NHS hires so many people? And they've hired over 52 participants from Tenalytics alone. And the reason is very simple. The NHS does not just give you a job, they also give you with visa sponsorship. All right, they give you the job with visa sponsorship. So for those looking to stay back in the UK after their masters, for those who are dependents, want to get a job, one of the career paths you want to consider, like I said, is business analysis. And would also show you the organizations to apply to. You can't just apply anyhow. You have to be strategic. The organizations that have the license to sponsor, and there are others that don't have the license to sponsor. So you want to be strategic when navigating the job application process. And I'll show you a little bit of that before we wrap up today. All right. So how do you start as a business analyst? What must you learn? In 2024, today, in the world that we live in today, you can't be a business analyst without some flavor of data analytics. And that's why our curriculum, your first module is to start with what? Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And this was what made the difference for Olamide. I looked at his CV and I knew exactly what he needed to do. All right. He added this to his CV and landed the job as a business data analyst. Okay, because organizations want the business analyst today to also have experience using data, understanding, managing, summarizing, building dashboards, using Excel, using Microsoft Power BI, and also structured query language, SQL, SQL, which is the language to interact with databases. Organizations would always have their data in a database. How do you access that database, extract data from the database, and so on and so forth? Once you are done with that, you move into process mapping. I talked about that earlier. The process mapping is where you take a process and you look at it end to end. You map out the process. How does it start? How does it end? And what are the different activities across the entire process? And you use different tools to map out processes, diagramming tools like Draw.io, Lucid Chart, Microsoft Visio, and so on and so forth. All right. You go to project initiation planning, and this is where the business analyst also does a job as a project manager. I talked about that earlier. Businesses fail because 39% of businesses fail because of poor planning, poor scoping, and the fact that the requirements were not properly defined. So the business analyst manages projects, initiates projects, because when you have offered or proffered a solution whereby an application, a software needs to be built or bought, a project would commence, all right? And you as the business analyst initiate the project, come up with the different stakeholders that will be on that project, and so on and so forth. And you're managing this project using the Agile and the Scrum methodology, the Agile methodology, and using the Scrum rules, the Scrum principles for these projects. Now, why Agile? That's the question. You have to use Agile because most of the projects you'll be working on would be within the tech ecosystem. And the Agile framework is the best framework to deploy in the tech ecosystem and not the waterfall methodology. And these are the project management skills of the business analyst. So I always tell people, right? You are a project manager. A project manager role is usually very broad and very generic. If you want to be specific, move into a particular area, and you want a particular skill that would complement your project management skills, then you look at business analysis as one of the career paths that could complement your project management skills, because it also has a component of project management focusing on Agile, most especially. And of course, you would understand the software development lifecycle, the SDLC, because this is the foundation of how software are developed or how applications are developed. So how is that software planned from the beginning. How is it going to be designed? How will it be built, deployed, tested, maintained, and so on and so forth. So it follows a cycle when building a software. And because you'll be managing a lot of software projects, you must understand the software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, gathering requirements, building your requirement documents, and so on and so forth. Elicitation, where you get information, you organize workshops, organize meetings to get information from your different stakeholders that you will use to build your user stories, your gather your requirements, and so on and so forth. And of course, you'll be managing stakeholders, analyzing stakeholders, knowing how to communicate to these stakeholders, who are the best stakeholders to engage in a particular process within the organization. And very important is ChatGPT for business analysis. ChatGPT has come to stay. Is a generative AI tool where anybody who wants to get into tech today, you want to be a business analyst, a data scientist, you can't do that without ChatGPT. Organizations are hiring people who have not so fantastic technical skill, but they are very good with ChatGPT. Prompts, engineering, all right? How do I write the very best prompts to get the best results to help me solve a problem? So I'm a data scientist, I'm a business analyst, I need to do something, all right? How do I leverage ChatGPT to help me optimize that entire process by knowing the right type of prompts to do? So you can't get into this without that understanding of ChatGPT. So you want to become a business analyst. These are the things you need to take note of. From number 1 to number 9. And how long does it take? 4 months. 2 months, project-based learning. Project-based learning. You learn by working on projects, all right? And 2 months again, you join an internship where you'll be involved in managing a project where a web application will be built to help an organization optimize its HR processes. So you're going to work with a Scrum Master, you'd work with a software developer, you'd work with different stakeholders to ensure you are able to build that project, build that application at the end of the day. So you will be the business analyst managing that process, all right? And what this does for you is by the time you are done, you've completed your internship, you have the skills to do the job on day 1. If you get hired as a business analyst today, you'd know exactly what to do. And this is the gap a lot of people have. They all come to us. I was speaking with somebody last week. She has a CBAP certification, but she has no clue, no idea of what the business analyst would do in terms of practically, how do I do my job? If I get hired today at DESA, I have no clue on what to do. And I told her that, look, your very best bet is join our business analysis program where you learn by working on projects, and you also get to work as a business analyst for another 2 months when you're done. And this gives you all the skills and experience that you need. The class equips you with the skills, the project equips you with the experience, all right? The classes would equip you with the skills, while the projects, the internship, would equip you with the experience. The classes are on Saturdays and Sundays, and you have different timings for different time zones. So for those in the UK, in Nigeria, in West Africa, similar time zone. On Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For those in the US and Canada, similar time zones, you have from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, all right? And of course, if you look at the West Africa equivalent of 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, that's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So every Saturday, you have a class for two different classes. One that would fit a particular region, the other one that would fit another region. So if you are in Nigeria, for example, and you feel that, oh, I want to be in the class for the guys in the US or in Canada because the timing fits my schedule, you can as well be in that particular class. But it doesn't matter where you are, there's a class that fits your time zone. Okay, and on Sundays, you also have another class, a live class where you have a facilitator, a trainer that will work with you, you work on projects, and you understand how to become a business analyst. So on Sundays, it's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you are in the UK, in Nigeria, in Ghana, similar time zones. If you're in the US or Canada, the North American region is from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I'll show you what the classroom looks like and how you would learn. But before we go into the classroom, at the beginning, I talked about the fact that certifications would never get you a job. You're not going to get a job because of a certification. You will get a job because of your skills plus experience. All right. No recruiter wants to hire somebody that'll be learning on the job on day one. Every recruiter, every company wants somebody that'll be able to do the job on day one. Okay. And as a business analyst, when you have built your skills and you have experience, how do you show that you have experience and you have your skills? And that's why building a portfolio is very, very important. Building a portfolio is very, very key. And I'll show you one of the portfolios of our participant and what she's built and how that relates to what you'll be doing in class as well. All right. So when you work on a project in class, you add it to your portfolio. Any project you work on, you add it to your portfolio. And at the end of the day, during your internship, when you're done with the internship, you also have the project in your portfolio. And this showcases to any recruiter that you have the skills. And they would also see the depth of your skills because you are showing them what you've done. They have access, they can click and interact with all the things you've done. So what I'm going to do is we're going to quickly look at this very quickly, Lemuel's profile. All right. And for every participant that goes through our program, you must build a portfolio like this. All right. So let's look at the portfolio and then we'll move on to the classroom. So this is Lemuel. Welcome to my business analysis portfolio. Welcome to my business analyst portfolio where data meets insights and motivation and innovation. All right. So now this particular project called the Unilever Canteen Ordering System is one of the projects you do during your capstone. When you're done with it, and that capstone project is on the Unilever Canteen Ordering System. So you're helping them optimize their ordering system. Okay, and you can see the Unilever Canteen Ordering System is a cutting-edge solution meticulously crafted to revolutionize the experience within the Unilever workspace. All right, so we can explore the project to see what she did exactly. If I click on this, it takes me to her presentation on what she was able to do. And you can see it's a capstone project. And let's have a look. And this is how you learn, all right? You form a team. Everybody works together in a group. And Lemuel was in this group called Team SDLC. So you'd have different teams, Team Jira, Team LDLC, Team Oscar, and so on and so forth, all right? So talked about the background, talked about what the problem statement was, the objectives, and so on. You come up with a business case, okay? So you have a template. And like I mentioned earlier, if you haven't done this before, when you get into an interview and you are asked the question, can you walk me through a process optimization project that you have been involved in? You'll be blank because all you have done is to read a book, pass an exam, have a certification, but how do you do the job? You find it very difficult. So came up with their business case. You have the business case, the stakeholders came up with the stakeholders using the RACI matrix, of course, the stakeholder analysis. You have the RACI matrix over here. Okay, SWOT analysis, all right, for the business. And okay, it's not downloading. Okay, so you now start to have the requirements. You have the front end features, the back end features, and the process map. So you can see all the things she's done. Anybody that looks at this would clearly know that this is somebody that knows what she's doing. Now, the sprint is a part of the agile ceremony. Okay, you have your sprint review, and this is part of your understanding of the agile framework and also implementing the Scrum rules and the Scrum principles on projects. Okay, so you have the sprints, which is also done, properly documented, the sprint 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, now let's go back and see other projects she's done. This is just one of them. All right, now there's another project for British Airways, which is another project you're going to work on, where you'd help British Airways understand the customer feedback using Excel and Power BI. This is another project for Sunshine Resorts. All right, let's click on Sunshine Resorts and let's see what Lemuel was able to do. So she created this dashboard using Excel for the Sunshine Resort, and she just posted the dashboard here. Okay, let's go to the British Airways. Click on this. You'd also see what she was able to do. The British Airways presentation. All right, and like I mentioned, this was done using Power BI, the data set for British Airways, and this was a dashboard, what she was able to build. And what was the project all about? It's all about helping British Airways understand the customer feedback, the different flight routes, and how to properly optimize their pricing analysis. Okay, so here's where she talked about the project, the recommendations on what they have, and so on and so forth. Okay, so, and of course, you get to work together in a team. You can see the team members, Lemuel. You are currently seeing Lemuel's profile, her portfolio. That's what you're seeing at the moment. Okay, so these are the things you do. So nobody would question if you have skills using Power BI or using Excel, because they can clearly see what you've done. So you can see all the projects they are going to work on using Excel, using Power BI, and so on and so forth. Okay, Tech Haven Electronics, as is, travel expense, and so on. All right, and the link is there. You have access to it when I share the slides with you. You must build a portfolio. This is what I call show your workings. All right, your proof. This is your proof of experience, that you have the skills and you've also done things within the space. And that's Lemuel's profile, Lemuel's portfolio that warehouses the type of project she has worked on. And just like the gentleman I talked about earlier, Olamide, who got a job as a business data analyst, some people learn business analysis and they only look for jobs as business analysts. You have to look for jobs across different areas. For example, business systems analyst is one of the career paths you can get into as a business analyst. So you've learned business analysis, you can get a job as a business systems analyst, IT business analyst, change management analyst, business process analyst, continuous improvement analyst. And like I mentioned, a fantastic career today is the business data analyst. Okay, so you don't, and these are some of the things we show to you during the job application process. You don't just apply to one specific type of jobs. You look at a broad angle of jobs. For example, in the US, the business analyst role is not called the business analyst outrightly. You'd see jobs like market research analyst, market research analyst. All right. You see jobs like market analysts, and these are also business analysis functions. But different regions would have different ways of bringing this up, and we also make this available to everyone. Okay, so again, you have to separate yourself. Now, I talked about a couple of things that helps you separate yourself. I talked about the fact that you must have a portfolio. Show your workings, show what you've done. That's your proof of experience. You must have that. All right. Number 2 are the other things you need to put into consideration. I'll be showing that to you now. Every employer would want to see this. Very, very important. And this is what separates you from the competition. And this is the reason why we've done an amazing job over the last 4 years. Everybody that has gotten a job, if you listen to what Abigail was saying when I played her video, It was a project-based way she learned in class, case scenarios. She talked about that in operation sessions. We always prepare you for the interviews, because guess what? If you don't know what to say or know what to do during the interview, you are done. Confidence and saying the right things during the interview is what gets you the job. All right. So now that you have a portfolio, how do you showcase your portfolio? Your portfolio must be on your CV. The link to your portfolio must be on your CV. The link to your portfolio must always be at the top of your CV. You must know the right type of CV format to use. And I'll tell you for free, the best CV format you can use is called the Wharton CV format. You can Google it and you'll see a template, but we provide you with the template for a business analyst using the Wharton CV format. And you also have your CV review sessions. What do you do during your CV review sessions? You learn how to tailor your job applications. So you're not applying to multiple jobs with one CV, and that's where you start to get very bad outcomes. Okay, you want a favorable outcome, you want to get the job, you must apply to jobs with CVs that fits the requirements, because every CV will be passed through a system called the ATS, the applicant tracking system. And the applicant tracking system is simply a software that will take the keywords from a job requirement and match it to the keywords on your CV. And if it doesn't match to a specific extent, say for example, about 80% of the keywords match, your CV would be dropped. And that's where you'd see that sometimes the moment you apply, you get an email telling you that unfortunately, you're not going to make the cut for the interview. So these are the things we make available to you. We teach you and show you how to tailor your CV, leveraging different tools. It doesn't have to be difficult. Life is easy today. Leveraging tools like JobScan, leveraging tools like Jobalytics, leveraging tools like ChatGPT, my favorite, all right? Especially ChatGPT 4.0, not the 3.5, which is the conventional free version. The 4.0 is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't used 4.0 before and you have $20, it's $20 per month. If you have $20, subscribe to the 4.0 and use it for a month, and you'd understand what I'm saying. The 4.0, all you need to do is we give you the prompts. You know the type of prompts to use, both for the 3.5 and the 4.0. But what makes it easier for you with the 4.0 is you can upload your CV. Upload your CV, write the right type of prompts that you need to write, and ChatGPT will give you a remodeled CV. Based on the job description, all you need to do is go copy the job description. I have a full session on that for those that are in the program. I take that particular session on tailoring your CV. All right. You get the job description, copy it. You write the prompt you need to write. You upload your CV, and you get a CV that is fit for that job, 100%. Right. And these are the things that would set you apart. Without a good CV, you cannot get called for interviews. You also have your LinkedIn profile. I'll show you some of the profiles of the people that I highlighted at the beginning: Ramat, Abigail, Nathaniel, Olamide, and the rest of them. And one thing you'd see is they all have Tenalytics, not as a trainee with Tenalytics, but they've worked with Tenalytics as employees on contracts. Okay, now why is this also important? Now, all the skills you're going to learn, your internship, the project you're going to work on, the presentations you're going to design, all the things you saw Lemuel had uploaded to her portfolio, those are the exact same skills you're going to deploy on the job itself. When you get a job, the skills are not different. So recruiters don't want to know that you're a trainee, you just finished learning. All right? They want to know that you have done the job before, okay? And that's why you position yourself as a contract staff of Tenalytics. And these are some of the things you have to put on your LinkedIn that makes you more attractive to potential recruiters out there. Okay, and I'll show you very quickly when I'm done with this slide. We'll go on LinkedIn and I'll show you exactly what I mean, what you have to do, and how this gives you an advantage. Okay, you have your Upwork optimization. For those of you that have an Upwork profile, we'll show you how to optimize. If you don't have one, we create one for you. And Upwork does what? This is where you can apply to freelance jobs, freelance opportunities, projects at your own convenience, selecting the type of projects you want to work on, navigating the job market. Very, very important session. The last 2 Thursdays, we've had sessions on navigating the job market where we brought in recruiters from the UK. We brought in recruiters from Nigeria. And this coming week, we're bringing a recruiter from Canada to do what? They come in to show you what the market currently demands and how to prepare yourself for that market. And I'll give you a typical example. Now, the UK is currently clamping down on so many, immigration pathways, especially the health and care. All right, you can't come in with your dependents and so on and so forth. But how do you still navigate the space? People are still getting jobs. And when we go on LinkedIn, I'll show you. I made a post about this last week. People are still getting jobs and they are still transitioning. How are they doing it? All right. And these are the things you need to know. If you're going to navigate a space, you need to know the nuances of the job markets within those areas. And like I always tell people, Africa currently, if you're anywhere in Africa, you're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, there's never been a best time for you to get into any of these career paths because you have a lot of people that have moved out of the country and you have a gaping hole in organizations today. Departments have been reduced from a 20-man team to just a 5-man team because everybody has jackpot out of the country. All right. We have organizations reaching out to us to recommend participants to them because they really don't have the time to put out adverts and say, we want to go through the recruitment process. And about 2 weeks ago, we had a partnership agreement. All right. A partnership agreement with Eden, a company in Nigeria that has operations across different sub-Saharan African region. And they want to take our participants, hire them across different areas from data analytics, business analysis, and data engineering. So these are organizations that would always be on the lookout. And how do you take advantage of those opportunities in those markets? And that's where navigating the job market becomes very important. Interview prep. I can't overemphasize the importance of this. Most of you will be going into this space for the very first time. So you need to know what to say when you go in there. When you're asked simple questions, tell me about yourself. Don't mumble, don't fumble. You have to use a specific technique called the seat approach or the seat technique. S for skills, E for experience, A for achievement, and T for traits or type of person. All right. And all the things you need to learn in order to prepare for that interview. We book an interview prep session with you. We work with you, help you prepare for that interview. And then you know how to say the right things when you get in there. And you know how to answer competency-based questions because competency-based questions carries the highest marks during the interviews. Questions like, tell me about a process optimization process you have been involved in. Or tell me about a time you were able to manage a difficult stakeholder on a project. You have on your CV that you can analyze and manage stakeholders, right? Tell me about a project where you encountered a difficult stakeholder and how did you manage the process? How do you even start to answer those type of questions? Because these are competency-based questions and you have to deploy a technique called the STAR approach, right? S for situation, T for task, A for actions, and R for results. So what was the situation? What was the task required or involved? What actions did you take? And what were the results after you deployed or implemented those actions? And these are some of the things. This has done magic for our participants, the interview prep. You also have recommendation and references because organizations would ask you for a recommendation. They'll ask you for a reference. Can we reach out to one of your references? And this is where you stating that you have worked with Analytics, on contract. This is where it becomes very important, because they reach out to us to provide them with a reference about you, and we do this for you. Okay. Without a reference, no organization would confirm you at the end of the day. Now, going to the level 2 of what sets you apart is the weekly mentorship session, where every week you would see myself, the co-founder of Analytics, and other industry experts that would help you hold your hands. All right. You see Ramat and you see Abigail. Ramat and Abigail that I shared at the beginning, they are currently body mentors. Okay, we call them body mentors. And what do the body mentors do? The body mentors are people that have gone ahead of you. You want to become a business analyst, right? In Canada, you have somebody like Abigail to speak with. You have somebody like Abigail who would come to you on a Thursday evening during your mentorship session. And you can ask her questions. Oh, Abigail, what is being a business analyst like in Canada? What were the specific questions you got asked during your interviews? Same with Ramat. Ramat has had multiple sessions with other people who are trying to become business analysts in the UK. So you have your body mentors, and apart from that, you also have your mentors like myself, the co-founder, and so many other industry experts that we bring, and on-the-job support. Most of you will get a job, and then you find a project where you have a little bit of difficulty navigating. Analytics would work with you for a month until you are able to have a solid footing on that role. So you're not left alone to go figure things out yourself. All right, you have a challenge, you can always reach out to us, and then we help you navigate the space, ensuring that we also take note of not getting you into any trouble due to data privacy. And we have a process whereby we navigate the space easily. And for the year 2024, we started this in January, which is simply a promise to you. And that promise is a guaranteed job interview 1 month after you are done with the program. You must get an interview, maximum a month after you're done. All right. What typically happens is before the end, even before a month, 2 months into the program, you start to apply to jobs. All right. And you start to get opportunities. So you also start to build your interview experience eventually. Okay, so this is what sets you apart. Your technical skills, all the things I mentioned, you learning how to use Jira to manage projects, you learning how to use Lucid charts, Draw.io to map out processes, you learning Excel, Power BI, and SQL, learning Confluence and Trello for collaboration and tracking projects. All those things are the technical skills that you would learn. Now, this is the other 50% that you need to get the job. The technical is 50%, and this is the other 50%. Without this, you are really going to struggle to land a job. And like I mentioned, this is what has made Analytics very successful over the years. Okay, now I'm going to move on. I told you I would move on to LinkedIn because I want to show you exactly how our participants position themselves to get jobs. All right, so let's go to LinkedIn very quickly. I'm not going to take your time. Okay, because today is a very practical session. I want us to be very practical with what we do. So first of all, I'll move into Ramat's profile. All right, so moving into LinkedIn, one of the first things I can see, which you would also see if you do a search for Analytics, this is Toby. Toby is currently on our HR analytics program, and this is what Toby has been able to create. And what this does for you when you create things like this, so you can see at the end, she has tagged Mary, who is the facilitator. She's tagged Analytics as well. She's tagged Mohammed, who are the trainers, and Oladayo, who are her trainers as well. So she's been able to build this amazing dashboard using Power BI. Now, the importance of doing this for Toby is recruiters go to your LinkedIn, they search for data analysts, they search for HR analysts, you would come up. And when you come up and they see what you built, there is no doubt that you are skilled in this area. So your persona on LinkedIn must always match your CV. Very, very important. Okay, but that's just digressing. Let's go to Ramat. I'm going to go to Ramat's profile, and I'm sure you all remember Ramat. If you don't remember Ramat, let me show you Ramat very quickly on my slide. Oh, you can't see my, sorry, I'm sharing. Sorry about that. I was sharing something totally different. I have two screens currently, so I was sharing my other screen. Sorry about that. I'll just show you exactly what I was showing. Let me move this to the other screen so you can see. Yeah, so that's what I was showing you a few seconds ago. All right. So if you see, I'll show you Toby, right? This is Toby. Toby is currently in one of our programs, all right? And you see that she's built something and posted online. Let me like it. And I'm also going to comment, and I would say, this is an awesome job. Keep it up, Toby. Okay, so this is one of our participants who just posted this on her LinkedIn. And if you look at what she has done, she talked about the entire process. So you don't just post pictures, you don't just post stuff without proper documentation, and which is what would also show you how to do on LinkedIn. So if you look at the very end, she's tagged her trainers. Mary is the HR analytics trainer. She's also tagged 10 Analytics. She's tagged Oladayo. She's tagged Mohammed, data visualization. And she's built this amazing visual using Power BI. Okay. I was explaining that why is this very important? It's very important because recruiters would always come here and they want to see that you have evidence. Remember when I said show your workings? You want to show people that you are a force to reckon with when it comes to specific areas that you're trying to move into. So it creates social proof for you, social proof. Okay, but let's go to Ramat. I'm trying to show you Ramat's profile. So I'll go to Ramat. And for those of you that have forgotten who Ramat is this amazing lady over here. All right, this is Ramat, who got a job with the NHS Trust, okay, in Stratford. Okay, Stratford or Stratford. We'll look at her profile now, all right? So this is Ramat. So let's go to Ramat's LinkedIn and let's see what Ramat has been able to do. So I'm going to click on Ramat, go to her profile. Some of the things you must do, I've talked about them, and we're going to see this practically, all right? So one of the things you'd see in the highlights is you both worked at 10 Analytics. Like I said, you must position yourself as somebody who has worked in that role before. You are not doing it for the first time. Now, if you go to Ramat's experience, she used to be a customer service representative, just like I mentioned. But before she was able to get this job as a business architect with the NHS Trust in the UK, she worked with us as a business analyst consultant. Okay, as a business analyst consultant. So you must position yourself like this. Talk about the things you've done. Okay, so if we look at what she's written here, she talked about all the things she's been able to do using analytical tools like Excel, like Power BI, SQL, how she's been able to elicit requirements using interviews, workshops, use cases, scenarios. So all of these things form the part of the strategy in your job application. Once you are done with your CV, you must come to LinkedIn and you must have something that looks like this. Very, very important. Okay, I can't overemphasize. So she moved from this role, of course, training with us here, moving from the customer resolution role with British Gas, which is a customer service role. And today she works with the NHS Trust. And Ramat, just like I said, Ramat, I want you guys, if I click on this, you'll see where she came to speak about how she transitioned, okay, for the Women in Tech Scholarship. You see Ramat. If you can watch this recording, please ensure that you watch it. Go to our YouTube, look for the 10 Analytics Women in Tech Scholarship session. and watch this session. I'm sure you'd learn a lot of amazing stuff that Ramat had to say. But you must structure your LinkedIn in a way that it captures the fact that you are not new into the space. And you'd see so many of our participants doing the same, posting on LinkedIn, talking about their stories and what they've done. Okay, very, very important. This is Anselm. Anselm is posting his certificates. He completed a data scientist program and is posting his completion certificates over here. All right. So very, very important, very key stuff that you need to do. And I want to show you something very quickly before I leave LinkedIn. Okay, because I'm not sure I want to come back to LinkedIn when I'm done. But let me show you something very, very important. Now, when it comes to applying for jobs or applying to jobs across different regions, a lot of people get it mixed up and get very confused, especially with the fact that they believe I must have heaven and earth to land the job. You don't need heaven and earth. You only need the skills. I've listed the skills for you already, okay? But let's go and check for business analyst roles. So I'm going to type in business analyst, okay? So let's check for business analyst roles and let's see the type of jobs that come up and let's look for them, okay? Now, there's something that you would see happen. Let me click on jobs. So once I type business analyst on LinkedIn, I'll click on jobs so I can see the jobs available. All right, so this is showing me in Canada because of course it's taking my, my location, but let's change this to the UK. All right, let's change it to United Kingdom. I want to show you something. Now, when you are applying, and this also, let me see. This also relates to when applying to, yeah, Ubong, are you trying to say something? Your hand is up.
Yes, it seems you are faster than what you're presenting.
Okay, is that the same for everybody? Can you see what I'm showing you? I'm going to take it a bit slowly now so you can all see what I'm doing, all right? So thanks for notifying me, Ubong. Now, one thing I want to show you here is when applying to jobs, you can't just do it haphazardly. You have to be very, very strategic. Very, very strategic. Okay. Now, if you can see the fact that I typed in a business analyst role in the UK, you would see some red notifications, green notifications. What do they mean? These red that you can see on this particular job that says business analyst for red 10, all right, it says not a UK visa sponsor. So when I'm applying to a job and I want to get sponsorship, you install an extension that works with LinkedIn and it shows you clearly the companies to focus on. All right. And this is just one way of doing it. There's so many ways of doing it. But one of the ways of doing it is by installing this extension. And it shows you exactly the companies that can sponsor and the companies that would not sponsor you. For example, this is not a UK visa sponsor. All right. If I go to this particular role with Oracle, okay, this is a business analyst role with Oracle. And you'd see that this one clearly shows that this is a UK visa sponsor. All right. So I want to apply to this organization has not specified, even though the rule has not specified that it comes with sponsorship. Once you see that this organization has the license to sponsor, go ahead and apply. And that was what Ramat did. Ramat and the other lady that was on the flyer I showed you for the scholarship. She applied to a job that had nothing with visa sponsorship attached to it. But when she got the job, she told them that she wanted visa sponsorship. They reviewed and they gave it to her because they have seen what she's capable of doing and they were impressed by her job. Okay, so that's one of the strategies you can also deploy. Even though you see a company, you see a particular job role that does not have visa sponsorship as part of the benefits, go ahead and apply. And you can be rest assured that you can get visa sponsorship, even though they have not listed that it comes with visa sponsorship. So you see that across the different jobs, okay, using a particular extension on your Google Chrome. And I thought I should show you that before we leave here. And of course, if you scroll down to the job requirements, okay, we scroll down to the job requirements, and this is where I always tell people, don't get confused at all. When people tell you that, oh, you need to have this, you need to have that, I heard that if you don't have this, you cannot get a job. Go to the key requirements of what you'd be doing. What will be your responsibilities and what would be your requirements? Number one, experience as a business analyst in the fintech. Okay? Understanding the agile methodologies. All right? Those are part of the requirements. Experience with banking. This has to do with banking. Strong stakeholder management skills. Ability to translate business requirements into technical specifications. So you look at the requirements. I'm not sure why it's not aligning, Ubong. I really don't know why it's like that. Maybe that's an issue, a technical issue with Zoom at the moment. I'm not entirely sure why. All right. It is aligning. Okay, Grace is saying it's aligning. So maybe it's your network, Ubong. I'm not sure. Maybe it's your network. All right. So again, always go to the requirements. Very, very important. Don't let anybody fool you and say, oh, in the UK, I heard you need to have one something certification to get a job as a business analyst. Look at what this company requires from you and ask yourself, do I meet the requirements? And like I always tell people, once you meet 60% of the requirements, for example, if you've not worked in banking and you see that this particular key responsibility or the requirements, specifies that you must have banking experience, go ahead and still apply. All right. Once you meet 60% of the requirements, go ahead and apply. And so many people, including myself, have gotten jobs that I had no business applying to. And you listen to Abigail, a lot of people have that, we call it the imposter syndrome. You feel you're not good enough and you don't apply to the jobs. But Abigail, if you listen to her video, she said Tenalytics showed her that you can apply to jobs that you think are bigger than you, and you'll be surprised that you get those jobs. Okay, so you don't have to wait. It doesn't matter. Here, there is no single certification listed that you need to have. All right, so look at the requirements, look at the skills, and all the skills are the same things we've talked about right at the beginning. Okay, agile methodologies, we talked about that. We talked about Scrum. We talked about strong stakeholder management. We talked about business requirements. We talked about analytics skills. Okay, we talked about eliciting information, managing requirements. We talked about all these things, and these are the things you learn in the program. Very, very important. Okay, so as we start to wrap up our session for today, you're going to be learning from the best in the industry. All right, you're going to be learning from the best in the industry. And I'm going to show you the classroom before I take questions. All right, and one of the ways you learn with us is working on projects. So you see all those projects that Lemuel has on her portfolio. I'll show you when she worked on those projects. All right, the type of projects you're going to work on. You're going to work with somebody like myself. I'm going to be, you will see me in some of your sessions. You also work with Linda. Linda is an amazing professional. She works with organizations both in Nigeria and in the UK. She works in organizations in Nigeria, the UK, and in the US as a business analyst. You have Sheung. Sheung works with Visa as a product reliability engineer, which is another fancy way of saying business analysis. All right. So Sheung would also be one of your facilitators to help you get into the business analysis space. You have Olabisi, who is a project manager and also a business analyst with Access Bank, should also be one of your facilitators. All right. Our next cohort would commence on the 6th of April, 2024, about a week from now. The next cohort would commence. Before we go into the pricing, the IWD scholarship, and so on and so forth, I'm going to show you the classroom. Okay, well, let me talk about the scholarship and then I'll go to the classroom. All right. Now, the IWD scholarship that we are offering for the year 2024 is simply a 50% discount across all our programs. All right. And why are we doing this? That's the question a lot of people have asked. We are doing this because women currently are underrepresented in the tech ecosystem. You currently have just 25% of tech roles occupied by women. And that's the reason why we need to close this economic gender gap. All right. And one of the ways we are doing this in our own little way at Tenalytics is by giving 50% scholarship during the International Women's Day or the month of March, which is the Women History Month. Okay. And started this initiative and it was taken up. Tech Cabal posted something on this. All right. So I'm just going to click on the link. Like I said, you'd have access to all of this. Okay. So if you click on the link, it takes you to the article that says Tenalytics grants tech scholarship to 300 women. And this was last year, 2023. So you have the opportunity to read the article and you get to see what it was all about. Okay, but it was an amazing, amazing initiative. You have people like Ikmat, who was a part of the program. Today, Ikmat works with the NHS as a data analyst, full visa sponsorship. She was a stay-at-home mom. You have somebody like Thelma. Thelma works with Scotiabank in Canada. She joined our program as a business analyst. She works with Scotiabank in Canada as a business analyst. All right, so this year we are doing 300 women. Okay, so like I said, the women currently takes about roughly 25%, 26.7 thereabouts. But this year we are doing 300 women, okay, and 50 men. Okay, 300 women and 50 men. And people would ask, why are we also including the men for a scholarship that should include or drive more women into tech? And it's very simple. The men currently hold the leadership roles within the tech ecosystem. The men can serve as key influencers, as mentors, and as drivers and allies to these women. So we want to also show that by giving 50 men the access to the scholarship, it will encourage them to drive the inclusion of women in tech. And that's the reason why we are also making this available to the men. All right. So that's what the scholarship is all about. And before we start talking about the fees, or what's the original fee and what's the 50%, I'm just going to show you in 2 minutes what the classroom looks like. So when you join our business analysis program, what would your classroom look like? How do you learn with us? Okay. So I'll go to the classroom and I'll simply let's go to the business analysis class that started in February. Okay, because they're currently doing their internship at the moment. And I would also show you the internship currently ongoing, where you build a web application, you'll be the business analyst, you work with the Scrum Master, which is this particular, let me open it up, I'll open it down, I'll come back here to show you what the project looks like, okay, and what you'll be doing during that internship. But let's first of all go into the classroom. All right, so you'd see that you have Business Analysis EU, Business Analysis NA, and that's the time zone. Different time zones. So let's go to the EU and let's see how people in class. Okay, it's taking a while. I'll show you what it's all about. Okay, so now it's up. So now when you get into the classroom is where all your materials would be, your repository of information. your slides, your data sets, your classroom recordings, every single thing would be here in your classroom, okay? So we have something we call the job application tracker. The focus is on getting jobs for us at Analytics, okay? So what we do is we ensure that you also track your application for jobs so you can see if you are doing well based on the target you have set for yourself, or you need to pick up the pace, okay? So that's the job application tracker. Then you also have the interview prep. I talked about that earlier. You have your interview preparation session, which is one of the most important things you'll be doing with us, preparing you for interviews. So you have an interview coming up. All you have to do is come to this place that says book an interview prep session. Click on that. Click on any of the links. Speak with Shay. Speak with Shay or speak with iSosa. All right, speak with Shay or speak with iSosa. Click on any of the links. It takes you to a Calendly. You fill up that link, enter the details of the job, and somebody would come on that session when you have selected your date and your time to prepare you for the interviews. I talked about the CV templates that you will have after you've completed your CV review session. You now know how to tailor your CV to job requirements. So you have a template, which is the Watson CV format, and this is what you use to apply to jobs. Your job description, you saw your LinkedIn, how your LinkedIn should be, what you should have on your LinkedIn. We send that to you, how to put your job description as a business analyst, the type of jobs you can apply to as a business analyst. So when you're applying to jobs, you know exactly what you're searching for. Business architect, right? Business architect, okay, is one of the jobs you can apply to as a business analyst. You see PMO analyst, you see business data analysts, and so on and so forth, okay? So just to give you an idea of what you'd be getting. Now, going into the classes itself, you can see the capstone project. These are the capstone projects and what they are doing. This is the Unilever canteen ordering system. This is the project they're currently working on in their capstone. Okay. Now, do you remember this project? If you go to Lemuel's portfolio, you'll see the Unilever canteen project. All right. So as you work on these projects, you create a portfolio and you upload those projects into your portfolio. Okay. So that's the Unilever canteen ordering system. You have a project overview, you work on that, and so on and so forth. Okay. But let's go to the very beginning. And this is where the classes become amazing and fantastic. Every single thing you do is what is recorded, and you have access to the materials. If you miss a class, you haven't missed anything, because you can always come back here, click on any of the links to get access to the recording, the slides, the materials, and you are good to go. If you also remember, Lemuel's profile had a project for British Airways. It is a case study you're also going to work on. It's a case study on British Airways. You work on this, and this is a document for the case study. All right, you're going to work on this particular case study, and you also add it to your portfolio. If you go to Lemuel's portfolio again, you would see the British Airways project. Okay, so whatever project you work on, you come upload it into your portfolio. All right, and if for any reason you miss a class, like I said, you have access to the recording and you have access to the classes. So let's say you come for the Microsoft Excel class 1, you are done with the class, you want to revisit what was done in class, or you missed the class, you come back later, you want to watch what was done, you come back here, you have your class materials, okay, which is case study based. So this particular class, you'd work on a case study for a company called Glow Gadgets. So here using Excel to solve problems, which is different from the way you solve problems. And that's what recruiters, that's what employers want from you. Tell me how you've used a tool to solve problems. Don't tell me definitions and technical concepts. Tell me your experience. Show me that you've done this before. Okay. Now, if you missed the class, all you need to do is come in here, click on the link, and you have access to the class recording. Because of time, I'm not going to play this so that we don't take too much time. But you saw Ubong's face. Ubong is also on the call, and Ubong is the class coordinator for this program. And if you listen to Abigail carefully, she mentioned that Ubong did a fantastic job. Reach out to Ubong any time of the day. Ubong would respond to you. Okay, so this is what your classroom looks like. From Microsoft Excel class 1, class 2, you have an assignment. You work on an assignment, and then you have a presentation when you're done with that assignment. And the presentation is done in a group environment. So you saw Lemuel's presentation. She had our group members clearly listed. That's the way you're going to work. Group exercises, you'd also have individual exercises. As a business analyst, you're going to do a lot of communication, a lot of presentation. So presenting your findings would be one of the things you do a lot during your program. Okay, you move to Power BI. When you're done with Power BI, your case study is going to be the British Airways case study, which you would also present. And for every time you miss out on something, there is always the avenue for you to go back to what? Revisit what you've done. Okay, so this is just giving you an idea of what the program entails. All right, and you look at the body mentorship. This session was a day in the life of a business analyst, a day as a business analyst. And this was the session where you had Ramat. If I'm correct, I think it was Ramat that took this session, the same Ramat. Okay, yes, this is Ramat. You can see Ramat Bankole, current job title, business architect with the NHS, business development analyst, and so on. You can see Ramat came in to take this session where she has done it. She's done what you want to do. She's achieved success, and she's coming back to help you achieve success as well. Okay, so let's start to wrap up, and I'll take questions. So going by the IWD scholarship that we are offering, what does it take to take advantage of the scholarship and be a part of the program? So all you need to do to be a part of the business analysis program and take advantage of the scholarship, the original fee is $750 if you're paying in dollars. So with the 50% discount, you get to pay just $375. If you're paying in pounds, it's £625 original, but the current IWD discount that's the scholarship. You get to pay just 50%, which is $313. If you're in Canada, you're paying in Canadian dollars. The original fee is 1,050 Canadian dollars, but you get to pay just 525, which is 50%. If you're in Nigeria, instead of paying 900, you get to pay just 450,000 naira. All right. The program starts on the 6th of April 2024. All right. And how do you take advantage of this? We have just 12 slots left, if I'm correct. 12 slots for the men. And I think we have about 123, if I'm correct. I'll check these numbers again and show you before we wrap up. Okay, but I'll show you how to take advantage and pay for the program. If I want to make payment today and I want to secure my slots, take advantage of the scholarship and get into the program. So we have a cohort starting on the 6th of April. We have another cohort starting on the 4th of May. So you can take advantage of the scholarship, and maybe you have commitments on the 6th of April. You can defer your class to start on the 4th of May. Okay. However, you must take advantage of the scholarship for you to do that. So if you click on this link, it takes you into the enrollment center. And all you need to do, once you click on the link, I'm going to walk you through how you can go ahead and make payments. So when you get into the enrollment center, all you have to do is go to where you have business analysis. Okay, go to where you have business analysis. Click on business analysis. It takes you to the business analysis program, and then you can make your payments. Okay, so here it has 313 pounds. All you need to do is what? Click on proceed to pay. So irrespective of your location, where you are, if you're in Canada, you'd see the Canadian dollars. If you're in the US, you'd see the US dollars. If you're in Nigeria, you'd see Nigeria, the Naira, and so on and so forth, okay? Click on proceed, enter your full name, enter your email, enter your phone number, very important, and then click on pay with card. Enter your card information, your card details, and then you are able to join the program. Can I pay in installments? Yes, you can. If you are starting on the 6th of April and you want to pay in installments, you must complete the payments before the program starts. And the deadline for payments is the 31st of March for those starting on the 6th of April. All right. So what you can do, the only thing you can do in that regard for the person that asked the question, that's Olanike, you make a payment today. So let's take, for example, let me go back and show you something. All right. Let's take, for example, I click on business analysis, and today I have 200 pounds. Okay. I don't have the full amounts to pay. I have 200 pounds today. I want to take advantage of the scholarship, secure my slots. Rather than paying the full 313, which is the scholarship amount, I enter 200. But you can't pay lesser than 200. That's the minimum, 200. I enter 200 and I click on proceed to pay. Okay, I enter my name. Oops. I enter my name, Adeza Suleiman. I enter my email. All right, pay with card. But remember, I have to complete the balance of 113 pounds on the 31st of March. But what I would have successfully done is to secure my discounted slots, which is the scholarship slots. Okay, so that's what you can do for that. Now, the moment you make payments, you receive an automated email that has a receipt of the payment you made. Of course, it will be sent to the email you've entered here. All right, so you receive an automated email, and you'd also get a link for you to enter and fill your details also in your email. Now, for those of you that will be doing a direct transfer, because that's for people in the UK only, you can do a direct transfer if you're in the UK to our pound account. All right. Now, once you do a direct transfer, take a screenshot of as proof of payment. And once you do that, ensure that you come in here to click on what? Upload your receipts. You'll see the icon that says upload your receipts. This is only if you've done a direct transfer. You click on upload your receipts. It takes you into this form. Okay. And then you fill the form, and I'll show you how you fill the form. You enter your email. You enter your email. Okay. Click on next. Now, for those of you that want to start in May, I'll also show you what you need to do. So type of payment, initial payment, or you made the full payment. So if you made 313, which is the discounted scholarship fee, you've paid the full amount, click on next. All right, enter your first name, enter your last name, enter your email. Is this your preferred Gmail? Yes. Gender, male or female, select, click on next. Okay, you have the terms and conditions. Read the terms and conditions, accept the terms and conditions, click on next. All right, when did you make payments? I make payments, you select the dates. Now upload the screenshots of your payments. All right, so you've done a transfer, you have a screenshot, upload that. What was your mode of payment? I did a direct transfer, or I paid using the main stack. So what I showed you here is the main stack payment center. So you select main stack, click on next. What program are you registering for? You select the program. I registered for what? Business analysis. Click on next. So when do you want to have your classes? Remember, business analysis on Saturdays or Sundays, you can select either to be in the class for the UK, Nigeria, similar time zone, or the US, Canada. So I'm in Canada. I want to join the later class in the evening. So 6 p.m. West African time would be around 12 noon, 10 a.m., sorry, Mountain Standard Time. Okay, so I want to have my classes 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Click on next. Would you like to be considered for the scholarship? Select yes, click on next. Okay, you upload a passport photograph, all right, as part of the requirements for getting the 50% scholarship. Okay, click on next. What cohorts do you intend, when do you intend to start? So if I want to start in April, all I need to do is come here, select 6th of April, but there's another cohort on the 4th of May. So if I want to defer to start in May, I come in here, click and select 4th of May. And then all the other details, you fill the other details. Where are you currently resided? Canada. It is your preferred WhatsApp number. You enter your number and so on and so forth. Once you are done, how did you find out about Tenalytics? I found out from Tenalytics Instagram, or I found out from, let me see, Adeza Suleiman. Select that, click on next, fill all the details and submit. We will receive your details and we send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the things you need to be a part of the program. All right. Now, if you also want to see the specifics, which is the nitty-gritty of what you'll be learning, you have access to the program brochure. So still on that same enrollment center, you'd see the link to get access to the brochures. Okay, so if I click on that link, it takes me to the brochure and I can download the brochure for business analysis. So if I go to business analysis, open up the brochure, you'd see all the details of the things you'll be learning in class. So this is the business analysis brochure. All right. And I can scroll down and see the nitty-gritty of all the things I'll be doing. Okay. Why business analysts, the curriculum, for example, you see all the things you'll be learning. And in Excel, what are you going to learn? Data analysis, data visualization, and dashboarding. Same with Power BI, SQL, ChatGPT for analytics. You go to project initiation, the role of a business analyst, understanding the business objectives. You have everything that you'll be learning under specific areas of the curriculum, okay? And you can have, you can go through the brochures and see all the amazing stuff that you'll be doing, the type of projects you're going to work on. You can see the British Airways project here, all right, as one of the projects that you'll be working on. There's a Nestle product analytics project as well that you'll be working on. You see all of those things. And then you can also see your facilitators, Linda, Shehu, Olabisi, and some other facilitators that would come in from time to time. Okay, so this just gives you a good overview of what you'd be doing in class and the specific details. Let me see. Absolutely. Grace is asking, can somebody in Canada pay on my behalf? Absolutely. So all you need is the person to make payments. And once they make payments and they're entering the details, just ensure that they're entering your details, okay? But even if the person does not enter your details, and enters his or her own details, when filling this form, all right, ensure that you enter your own details so we can send the welcome kit to your email or reach out to you if there is anything that we haven't gotten from you through your WhatsApp or through email as well. Okay, so somebody can pay on your behalf. We have brothers paying for sisters, we have fathers paying for their children, and so on and so forth. Okay, let me see. So let me take questions, all right? So we've got into the Q&A section. So feel free, if you have questions, feel free to ask your questions. I'm very, very happy Does the 50% bonus extend to the month of May? So I explained how it works, okay? Now, if you want to start on the 4th of May, you have to, so for those, let me write it on my screen so it's very, very clear, okay? I'll write it on my screen so that I answer that question clearly. And I can just direct you there when anybody else has similar questions, okay? So if you are starting April 6th, which is the next cohort coming up next week, all right? You have to complete your payment by 31st of March, okay? By 31st of March. Now, if you want to start May 4th, you must complete your payment by the 4th of April, okay? So you want to start on the 6th of April, you must complete your payments on the 31st of March. If you want to start May 4th, you must complete your payments on the 4th of April. All right. And that's the deadline for you to take advantage of the scholarship. Okay, so let's take more questions. If you want to speak, I would allow you unmute yourself. You can raise your hand. I would allow you unmute and you can ask your questions, or you can just drop it in the chat and I'll take those questions as I see them. Okay. So let me see. What if you are starting by May cohort? Can you pay to secure? Absolutely. Yes, you can. Uzo, yes, you can. You can do that. Okay, I have somebody with a hand up, Dr. Michael. Dr. Michael, please go ahead and ask a question. I've asked you to unmute yourself.
Okay, fine. Perfect. Adeza, I appreciate your presentation. I'm joining in from Calabar. I have paid for the full payment for data analysis, and I hope to join the section in on the 6th of April. I want to find out, you talked about ChatGPT, the 4.0 version, and
Yes.
you spoke about writing prompt. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you have a video for that?
Well, we've had sessions.
Okay, because I'm quite interested. Yeah, I'm interested. I wish I can have a video that I can listen to on how to create prompts for ChatGPT.
Okay.
Then two, my daughter is studying computer science, and I intend to enroll her in one of your programs. She's studying computer science. What best advice will you give to her if she has to pick an option from the courses you have?
Okay, fantastic. There are 3 specific programs I would recommend to her. Okay, and it doesn't matter which one she decides to start. These 3 career paths would give her absolutely phenomenal opportunities. All right. Number 1 is data analytics. Okay. Number 2, data science. And number 3 is data engineering.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So I'd recommend these 3 areas, and she can choose and select a science degree or a computer science undergrad. She'll do very well in any of these 3 areas, irrespective of the one she decides to go for.
Okay, fine, perfect.
Yeah.
Although initially I've been encouraging her to learn programming. Programming. Is it front and back end?
Front end and back end. Yeah, full stack.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also very good. That's a good career path. Software engineering. Okay. It's a very good path for her. If she decides to go for that, it's also brilliant. It takes longer to learn that, but I believe she has the the gift of youth on her side, she can take another 1 year thereabouts to learn software engineering. Front end, another very fantastic career path for her. Most of the time for professionals, the challenge with getting into software engineering is the time it would take. Okay, actually takes a while, especially for somebody who might be busy. It could take you about a year or a year and a half or thereabouts to eventually complete the program before you start applying to jobs. Okay, so software engineering is a good path for her to take too.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah, now
Yes, welcome.
Back to the first question. Yeah, back to the first question. How can you help me? I really want to have this ability to write prompts. How do I write prompts? Yes, yes.
Okay,
I'm ready to subscribe. I'm ready to subscribe to the monthly subscription for ChatGPT. I use currently ChatGPT to do some work, but
yes.
I think I would like to do the subscribe version of it, and then how to write prompts. Yeah, I want to write prompts to redesign my CV.
Okay, okay. For that, it's not available on our YouTube page. I was about going to our YouTube to show you some of the sessions we've had for free. So what you can do, if you go on YouTube, search Tenalytics, you'd see Tenalytics, click on that, ensure that you subscribe. And then if you go to our videos, you'd see a couple of videos that we've done using leveraging ChatGPT. For example, last week we had a session leveraging AI and data as a data analyst using Excel and Claude AI. So Claude AI is another large language model, all right, just like ChatGPT, but this is Claude AI. But if you scroll all the way down, you see other sessions we've had leveraging ChatGPT. But for the one for CV, that's only exclusive to our participants. And if I can go to one classroom, sorry, if I go to let me show you something very quickly. In one of the classrooms. Yeah, but you can only find that as part of the program, not available to the public. So let's go to
But I'm registered. Yeah, I'm registered.
Oh,
I'm
yes. You would have that session. Yeah. You will definitely have this how to tailor your CV. Okay, tailor your CV to your past experience. The session that I take personally, we use ChatGPT for that. Okay, so I'll bring it up and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm just going to look for that session. Let me see. I hope I can find it here. If not, I'll just show you the slides and what the slide looks like, really. Okay, so these guys have not had their own session, all right? So I'm going to show you my slide. Let me open up this and I'll show you what it looks like. So you have your mentorship. Okay. Yeah, so I'll share the slide with you now.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So this is part of what it looks like. Okay, so we first of all talk about the Watson formats. We have why the Watson format is very important. You have your prompts for tailoring your CV. I walk you through the different prompts, and we have a practical session on how you enter your prompts, what type of prompts to use, how to tailor your career path, how to, like I said, it's not for the public, so I don't want to just show that publicly. It's tailored for those that have made payment, but you will have access to. Yeah,
okay,
you will
fine.
have
fine.
during your program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. This,
You're welcome.
yeah.
You're welcome, Dr. Michael. We look forward to having you on the 6th of April to start your journey in data
Fine. Perfect.
analytics.
Yeah. Business
All right.
analytics.
Brilliant.
Hmm.
Business. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much for that beautiful question. I'm just quickly going to take more questions so that we can call it a day. I know a lot of you are also celebrating Easter today, so I don't want to keep you here all day. All right. Kunle is saying that the deadline to complete the May payment is too short. Can you extend it, and how much is the initial deposit? So again, like I always advise, what you want to do is to secure your slots. All right. Because looking at, let me just confirm quickly, like I said, I was going to showcase that the slots we have left. For somebody like you, Kunle, that is a guy, we currently have 12 slots for the men and 123 for the women. Okay, so the slot for the men is, by this weekend is gone, because as we are having the business analysis, we also have our data science masterclass today. We have another masterclass tomorrow. So by this weekend, the slots are gone. So what you want to do, first of all, Kunle, is secure your slots. So the slots are not gone, and then you lose both ways. So secure your slot, first of all. Once you click on the link, you'll see the minimum payment based on your location. All right. Make that minimum payment and then reach out to us. Oh, hello team. The 4th of April might be a bit tight for me. Can you extend to this? Okay. I'm not guaranteeing that we will extend, but there is a high chance that we'll look into your case and make the necessary concessions based on our own internal decision at the end of the day. All right. But ensure that you are able to secure the slot first of all. All right. Let me take question from Grace. Please don't forget to attend to the payment deadline. Grace, I'm not sure I got your question for the payment deadline. Did you send something to me, Grace? Please let me know if you sent something to me. It has been answered. Okay, fantastic. All right. My colleague Ubong has also pasted, the links to all our social media channels and platforms. So please ensure that you follow us, because you will get amazing information from us, most of the time for free. So if you go to our YouTube, for example, you have access to the free master classes that we've had. For example, oops, sorry, my son found his way to my office and it's distracting me here too. So for example, you have the live coding session with Python. Is a free session for those getting started. You want to learn Python, leveraging AI as a data analyst using Excel, Claude AI. We had a Q&A session sometime last week, myself and the co-founder. Why tech recruiters choose Scrum Masters over project managers. So you have access to all these amazing sessions that we've held for the past 3 to 4 years. You have access to all of them. Okay, now you see all those amazing professionals that had 1 or 2 testimonials. If you go to the playlist, you'll see you have interview preparation, materials. You have access to explanations of all our training programs, and you also have access to the testimonials. Okay, access to the testimonials, and you get to listen to people, a phenomenal job where they are. All right. Sorry, I think I'm just going to. Okay, so you can watch, you'd have access to the testimonials as well. All right, I'm just going to mute But you can listen to this amazing lady, you can listen to this gentleman, you can listen to all the fantastic people, how they got their jobs. We listened to Abigail a few minutes ago. You listen to Dan Katz, you listen to Lemuel. I presented Lemuel's portfolio to you. This is Lemuel. Let's listen to Lemuel very quickly. So this is Lemuel, the ladies whose portfolio you list.
Stop making Amazon sellers
So let's listen to Lemuel.
income. That's right.
Hi, my name is Lemoyola Odior and I'm a business analyst. I registered with Analytics a couple of months ago and it was one of the best decisions of my life. I registered at the point where I needed to upskill as a business analyst, especially in the areas of technical business analysis, and it was great. I made the right choice, trust me. So I just finished a particular program at the time and I wasn't so impressed. So I went on Google and I started searching for schools and Analytics popped up. When I saw all I was going to learn, I was so impressed I had to get one of my friends to join in, and we both registered for that cohort. Trust me, it was really, really good. From the very first week, we could do so much that we never thought we'd be able to do. The tutors, they're all hands down. Everybody wants to make sure that you learn. For Analytics, I realized that it's beyond the money. It's all about passing the knowledge, the actual knowledge of business analysis that people need to learn. So you're not just carrying the name about, you actually know how to do a really, really good business analysis. And I want to encourage you today, if you're still having doubts in your mind, please let it end right here. Trust me, paying for this course, taking the business analysis course is really, really what you should be doing right now. Invest in yourself. I want to encourage you today. I really made the right choice investing in myself. I was very, very close to not taking the course, but I want to say a big thank you to Analytics for investing your time, your resources, and everything into putting this course together. Ensure that more competent business analysts are put out there in the world. Thank you so much for everything, and I recommend Analytics 100%.
Okay, most of you would have seen Lemuel. I showed Lemuel's profile to you. All right, I showed Lemuel's profile, her portfolio rather. We looked at her portfolio. We saw the things she had built, all the Sunshine Report, the British Airways, the Unilever canteen ordering system. So that was Lemuel. She was one that just spoke now. All right, so follow us across all our channels and you would get access to so many freebies. Right? Oops, sorry. All right, so I'm going to take more questions and before we call it a day. All right, I'll take more questions. All right, so Ubong is answering the question, Mrs. Onwood Dewey. Okay. Let me see, we have any more questions before we call it a day. If you type it into the chat and then I'll take the question. Can you please review the deadline? Okay, I think I've seen that, 4th of April. What if you are starting by May? Okay, people are asking for May. I think I've pretty much answered the questions that we have. Okay. I think I pretty much answered all the questions. All right. What's the full meaning of sit and star? I really wanted to show you a full practical scenario where one of our participants put this into practice. Okay, sit. I'm going to type it. Let me write it out so that I'll write it out for you. Okay, what's the sit approach and what's the star approach or the star technique? I'll write it out. All right, sit, S-E-A-T. If you don't take anything away from this session, you take this away. You introduce yourself by using this technique. S is for skills. All right, E is for experience. A is for achievements. And T is for type of person. Type of person, or you can call this traits. Traits. T can also be for traits. All right. And then you have the star technique, S-T-A-R. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. It's for answering competency-based questions during interview. S is for situation. T is for task. A is for action. And R is for what? Okay, so if you're asked to introduce yourself, for example, a lot of people, social local governments, and you start to, right? You want to talk about the fact that Power BI, Excel, Tableau, and SQL. I have close to a decade years of experience working across the energy sector, where I also had the opportunity of working specifically in the power industry. While I was in the energy sector and I joined the department, I found out that there was no database that could warehouse the data within the department. So one of the first things I did was to leverage my SQL skills to build a database, and this increased our reporting time by 30%. I was also involved on a project that led to the development of a data warehouse, which consolidated the entire data across the corporations in 2 regions, ensuring that we had only one single source of truth and everybody had access to the data in the data warehouse. I'm a professional to the core. I have very good attention to details, and I take punctuality as one of the principles that I live by. I'm excited to be interviewed for this role as a data analyst, and I'm sure I'll bring a lot of value to this position. And that's how you introduce yourself. Okay, and I just said this at the top of my head because I have a technique to follow, which is the SEATS approach. And once you do this and you practice and practice and practice, you'll introduce yourself in a compelling manner. All right, you start with your skills, you move to your experience, you move to your achievements, and then you move to your type of person or traits. And your traits or type of person must always align to the core values of the organization that you're applying to. So you want to research into their about, and you're able to prepare your answer in a way that would be, that what you use to answer questions that are competency-based. Okay, I give 2 examples earlier. Tell me about a time you've been able to manage a difficult stakeholder on a project. So this involves you having to have worked on a project before, and you've met a difficult stakeholder. But guess what? Sometimes you never found yourself in that situation, all right? But you know what to do if you ever get into that situation. So because you have a framework to follow called the STAR framework or the STAR technique, depending on how you want to call it, you can answer that question if I'm not in that situation. All right. And these are the things we also bring to you. It's one of the things you'd see in your classroom. You'd have a session on the STAR technique, the SEAT approach, because you must know how to answer questions. The technique is to always have 5 stories. Okay? 5 stories that you can tell during an interview, which means you have 5 projects. All right? Because remember, I said something earlier. It is skills plus experience. And that's what gets you the job. So one of the ways recruiters would know that you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have the required skills or experience to get this job constantly. And a lot of people make this mistake. Oh, tell me about a time you managed a difficult stakeholder. The person says, oh, there was a time I was on a project where I worked in the banking industry and the bank was trying to consolidate its customer database. You use that as a project. Now they ask you a different question entirely. And they say that, okay, I can see on your CV that you have Excel. can you tell me how you have used Excel, to solve a problem in your previous organization? You now talk about that same project again. Oh, I was involved in a customer consolidation project, and one of the analysis we had to do involved the use of Excel. The moment you bring up a project twice or three times, I can tell that you don't have experience. And that's why you must have 5 projects. And if the interview is for 1 hour, you are likely not going to have gone through the entire 5 projects. And that's why we recommend a minimum of 5. So irrespective of how long your interview is, you always have projects that you can give to them, and they know that, okay, you've done this, you've done that, you've done this, and you make it very rich, leveraging your STAR technique. Okay, I'd just like to start to wrap up my session today. And for those who have been here for the last 2.5 hours, I want to say a big thank you for joining me today. All right. If you know a friend, you know a colleague, you listen to Lemuel. Lemuel joined. She also brought in her friends to join. And part of the reasons why she did that was the moment she joined, she saw the value and the amazing way to get not just the was also an accountability partner, family member that you think can benefit from the scholarship. Share the message with them. And I want to say, as you go into the weekend, have an amazing weekend, and thank you for joining me today. To those observing the Easter holidays, I wish you an amazing Easter celebration. Have an amazing weekend. And until we meet again in another session, please ensure that you follow us across all our channels and be a part of the Tenalytics community. And for those of you starting your journey on the 6th of April or 4th of May, I look forward to another amazing journey with all of you. All right. Have an amazing time, guys. And cheers, everybody.